把脸过来，对，用脸蛋去抚摸它。过来，
师傅啊，
对。
Serialized report and photos by the American scholar Joseph Locke from his trip to the area in western China called Gongga Risong Gongbu. In 1933, the British novelist James Hilton published his novel The Last Horizon. The two publications joined hands to create an immediate hit in Europe, America, and Japan of the 20th century. The word Shangri-La refers to the kingdom of Shambhala according to the Buddhist legend and means a faultless and ideal world. It is documented that in the last 5 decades, explorers were searching the real Shangri-La with all their might in Tibet, India, Nepal, Afghanistan, and even Siberia, but all their efforts turned to be a failure. In the second half of 1996, the world's attention turned to a persistent explorer named Joseph Locke, who had stayed for 27 years in Zhongdian and稻城亚丁, West China. People were overwhelmed by his discovery of the lost Shangri-La, the very one described in the novel of James Hilton. Located in the southwest margin of Sichuan province and 800 kilometers from Chengdu, Daocheng County neighbors Muli County of Liangshan Autonomous Prefecture to its southeast, Xiangcheng County and Yunnan Zhongdian to its southwest, and Litang County to its north. The county covers an area of 7,323 kilometers with a population of less than 30,000, 96% of which are Following the route of Joseph Locke, we set out on horsebacks instead of fans toward Yading from Rihua via Mengzi. It is a route that tried our endurance and willpower in surmounting mountains, debris flows in canyons, all at an elevation of over 4,000 meters. All the way to the sacred mountain, we are lucky to have a local Tibetan to be with us. All the way, he's telling us one after another age-old story. About 60 years ago, the area was densely covered with huge trees, but a fire burned all of them, leaving some of these bare branches. Yet the nature once again revives the woods. As we have the gods keep these mountains on their guard, you are not supposed to speak loudly in the mountains. At the mountain pass, you will have to burn the cypress twigs and to offer your rye liquor for the gods' blessing, or something ill would befall. Now we feel so small and weak in front of imposing mountains and have to struggle forth against the wind and rain. The route selected by Locke is indeed perilous, but deserving. Behind us are peculiar flowers and grasses, countless geological wonders, fast-changing weather that bears much mystery. Legends have it that there was a temple for immortals that houses numerous Buddhist scriptures. Following our guide, we seem to perceive some hidden temple cloisters. In Yading, the patterns of rock veins like this could everywhere be seen, from which only those endowed with Buddha's talent are supposed to perceive in it the figure of Buddha. We take a little rest at where Locke once did. The spot is nothing but a traffic hub on the snow plateau. After a little while, another caravan comes out of the woods. The butterfly-shaped rock rises up from the ground. How and where does it come? No one, including luck and us, attempts an adequate interpretation. Similarly, this huge rock that comes from nowhere refuses any account of its origin. Trekking on the primitive path toward Yadin, we find our mood as changeable as the weather characteristic of violent winds, storms, hails, and snows. They appear fierce and turbulent and went off mysteriously. In spite of the instantaneous weather, the shining sun dominates the land, drives away hazes, and restores resplendence to all living things when we completely forget our fatigue. When we got close to the Sanhuju mountain, our guide put on a serious look, for he heard some religious intonations lingering over the wilderness. It turned out that we have set foot on the hill forest described in some Buddhist classics and are about to visit the horrifying hill valley, an inevitable stop on our way to the Sanhuju mountain. The geographical name of the ravine is the Kasi Ravine, which is in fact a beautiful 20-kilometer canyon with precipitous peaks dropping from 4,000 meters to 2,000 meters. While overwhelmed at its appealing scenery, we find ourselves in this rare Eka-tour corridor. Beyond the Kasi Hill ravine, we see the lofty Sanhuju mountain, the core zone of the Yadin Nature Reserve, and the natural and cultural integrity. According to historical records, the Tibetan Buddhist lists the three towering peaks of the Sanhuju Snow Mountain as the three Buddhas of boundless supernatural power. The three peaks are respectively named Xiannai Ri, Yangmai Yong, and Xiano Doji, each representing the Mother Buddha, God of mercy, God of wisdom, and God of justice. Xiannai Ri, the highest peak, is the incarnation of the Mother Buddha. It resembles a graceful Buddhist figure sitting on her lotus throne. Her kind countenance faces all living things around, with Zoma La Cuo wrapped in grain at her foot. On her left is the austere White Mother, and on her right, the amorous Grain Mother. Like a graceful lady, the South Peak Yangmayong is 5,958 meters and believed to be the incarnation of the God of wisdom. Yu Shengcuo serves as her mirror reflecting her perpetual charm. Only at dawn could one find the enthusiasm of Yangmayong. Xianuoduoji, the 5,958-meter east peak, is the incarnation of God of justice, resembling a lad of martial bearings, resolute and steadfast. Legends have it that the place used to be haunted by poisonous snakes and fierce animals that often intruded on the civilian life. Xianuoduoji captured the Python and the king of beasts, vanquished demons, and restored the peaceful village life. Around the waist of Xianuoduoji, the Python turned to a huge cliff with spring water hurling out of its mouth. Xianuoduoji seems to sit on a tiger skin, which glorifies its master, adding much martial bearings to this hero of Tibetans. Xiannai Ri, Yangmaiyong, and Xianuoduoji occupy a sacred position in the mind of local Tibetans. According to historical records, Master the Lotus, founder of Tibetan Buddhism, consecrated the three snow peaks and called them Nianqing Gongga Ri Song Gongbu in the 8th century. The records of the Jia Ri sacred mountains documents that there are only 24 sacred places entitled Nianqing in the world, with Nianqing Gongga Ri Song Gongbu ranking the 11th. It is said that Goma Ba the Reverend highly commended the three sacred peaks, listing it as one of the 24 sacred places, with the Sanhuzhu Snow Mountain the dominating all others. Because of their reverence to the Sanhuzhu Snow Mountain, local Tibetans believe that after their farm work, a matter of primary importance is the mountain pilgrimage, or what is popularly called the walking around the mountain. It is said the one trip around the mountain wins one the equal magic power as chanting the Tsimani scripture for 100 million times. Such trip is able to refine the mind for a better afterlife. Thus, Tibetans, young and old, put themselves out in piously walking around the mountain, either in a long or medium length or short trip. The long trip usually takes one a full month to complete. Although the stream of pilgrims seems of no end, there should have no food and boarding facilities in the vicinity several hundred square kilometers around. At the foot of the Xiannai Ri Peak, the dilapidated Chonggu Temple is a temporary reception house, as well as the only cultural landscape within the nature reserve. It is said that the dignitary Rangxiang Genqiu Jiacuo racked his brains for shelter for pilgrims on the way to the sacred mountain. But the god of mountains' principle was that the crowning calamity could be doomed on whoever broke ground on the sacred land. Rangxiang Genqiu Jiacuo passed away, but he forever lives in the heart of Tibetans. His remains were buried in a Mani mound that lasts as long as the sun and the moon. Even though his Chonggu temple has become dilapidated today, people during their mountain trip would stop in here and take a little rest. Today, a Lama monk lives in the temple. people stay away from pains and sorrows. This is the place of fragrant flowers and singing birds in 4 evergreen seasons. It is the abode of immortals. This is by no means a realistic song, but a stirring one. It outlines the human longing and pursuit for the beautiful Shangri-La, an integrity of humanistic and natural beauties. People generally believe Daocheng Yading is the very Shangri-La because it evinces both the natural and humanistic beauties.
我就觉得这儿啊，就像桃花源，就像《蜀山剑侠传》里头所写的那种这个川滇圣地呀、然后回去以后，他们说这里洛克来过，回去就翻了洛克的报告，然后就感觉上就觉得这里的确就是根据洛克报告所引发的一种灵感所写的香格里拉的小说。因为这儿的环境呢，你看四周都是雪山，山沟里头阳光好的时候温暖如春，是吧？鸟语花香，泉水流了水声淙淙啊。所以在这种环境，就是说再配上这儿的人，那真是一种香格里拉。就我这直觉上我就觉得这个就是他们形容的香格里拉，就是这个地方。
Yading is a Tibetan word meaning the place the closest to the sun. In appreciation of the unadorned natural beauty of Yading, people find too many things to see here, ranging from its sky landform to its cubic shapes. Its sky is set against the background of snow peaks in a lively and harmonious way, bringing the best to each other. When white mirages erecting from the snow peaks up into the blue sky, people cannot help give rein to their imaginations. Here the land is blazing with colors and imposing with posters, flowers, forests, gorgeous waterfalls, hidden mountains, flowstone slopes, alpine lakes, as well as hot spring clusters and ancient glaciers. One landscape differs from another, contouring a brand new spectacle. Azaleas are in their full bloom, ushering in the grand performance of all flowers. On stage after the azalea show are blossoms of camellia, Chinese crabapple, and baby's breath. Everything is trying to make a good showing. In July and August, flowers are in their prime and blanket every corner of Yading. Geographically, Yading is a branch peak of the Gongga Mountains, distinguished for its abundant vegetation and rich diversity of plant species. Voluminous forests rise and fall, stretching from the river valley up across the snow line. The boundless vegetation ranges from shrubs, broad-leaved and coniferous forests, as well as alpine shrubs. The area is believed to have the most abundant zonation in East Asia. What marvels the visitor is that the heat of local alpine azalea forests average over 10 meters, dense and vast. The pity is that we come in a bad season, only to view the labyrinth-like forests, instead its prime flowering plants. Autumn reddens the forests on the mountain densely covered with widespread forests, being colored in jade green, agate yellow, and raj red. It is no wonder that local Tibetans call it the True Mountain, meaning the shining mountain. Waters here, either dropping from a great fall or murmuring their way along, are of special nimbus. A stream of running water fertilizes all living things on grasses and in woods. Streams sipping down the snow peaks drop from heath, spraying their silk and brocade images. Water is the only creature that sings and dances on this sacred land, solemn and respectful. Most of the Yarding peaks rise above 3,000 meters, and commonly seen here is a spectacular landscape of alpine flowstone slopes. Cirque lakes associated with alpine flowstone slopes. They are large in space and volume, and their waters, collected from rains, appear especially bright and clean. Reflecting the azure sky, these lakes resemble in the distant sapphires inlaid among the peaks. Of all other Yarding geological wonders, the most spectacular are ruins of immemorial glaciers and glacier caps. Out of these ice cliffs and caves, one identifies some early traits of the Earth's evolution. Though stagnant and silent for millions of years, they are part of the biogenesis and the origin of human beings. In this sense, the glacier and glacier cap tours are now rapidly become one of the hottest tourist orientations in the 21st century. The Sanhuju Snow Mountain is another attraction for adventure tourists. They surmounted the mysterious sacred mountain in order to find the secret tracks of the lost Shangri-La, but they often returned with a disappointment. Occupying an area of 3,200 square kilometers, The Haizi Mountain is the largest site of glacier caps on the Qinzhang Plateau. On its 5,000-meter mountain top lie cobblestones of different sizes. Standing by these cobbles, one might replay the time-space tunnel at a speed of millions of the original and feel the Qinzhang Plateau rising like an elevator up to the roof of the world. What marvels visitors are 1,400 alpine lakes and countless animal and plant species, densely distributed all over this high-altitude area. In addition, there is a myriad of hot springs and solution crevices in Daocheng, bestowing much romantic coloring to the sacred land of Buddhism. As early as the 12th century, the natural beauty of Daocheng and Yading was known throughout the Tibetan inhabited areas. It's recorded that in 1144, Gema Ba, Dongsong Qing Ba, the first visited Daocheng and commented with great affections that throughout the Tibetan inhabited areas, this is the place with the best landscapes, abundant grazing ground, thriving livestock, and the Buddha's divine light illuminating all things. I decide to build a monastery here to attend my charitable deeds and merits. There are currently 13 monasteries housing several of Buddha's schools, including the influential Xiongdeng Monastery and Gongga Langji Ling Monastery of the Yellow Lamazon, as well as the Benbo Monastery of the White Lamazon. They have become important local cultural landscapes. Scenic resorts. According to James Hilton, the nature of Shangri-La lies in its humanistic beauty and human affection. The natural beauty of Daocheng and Yading nurtures its people and bestows them with the best of personalities. They are honest, kind-hearted, diligent, and passionate. Due to geographical isolation and traffic inconvenience, the Middle Ages ways of living and production remain intact. Yet, in spite of harsh environment and bitter life, people here are never attempts to abandon their optimism as well as enjoyment of life. At the RC village, we call on a 79-year-old potter. Although his favorite pottery is in the danger of extinction, and although his simple and rough living conditions hardly afford the materials he deserves, he seldom thinks of them. At the faint light of his hearth, he is creating one piece after another pottery while enchanting some religious scriptures. He clings to the faith that pottery is the best and most beautiful of all human creations, thus generating convenience and pleasure for people. His happiest moment is when people come to admire his works. In Yading, the Buddhist ideology of well-treating both oneself and others is deeply rooted among the local people and has become common practice. It, they believe, is able to cultivate a better harmony among human beings as well as between man and nature. About 96% of the local people are Tibetans engaged in both farming and livestock raising. Their housing is another attractive landscape on the plateau. As a guest to any Tibetan house, one is strongly affected by the consideration, frankness, and forthrightness of Kamba people of稻城. The visitor is ushered in by the hospitable host and then treated with barley liquor and buttered tea. While drinking the liquor, the hosts would sing their best song to show their hospitality. In the Tibetan house, you will experience another atmosphere in which everything seems unadorned, save sweet and gentle. In稻城, local Tibetans develop a habit of morning prayers. Early in the morning, the family host climbs over onto the top floor, kindling firewood and cedar twigs and offering some sacrificial sticky rice cakes. When the kitchen smoke rises, the housemaster chants the scripture, his voice sailing afar in company with the rising smoke and morning haze. Then they hang on new religious narrow flags to end their early prayer. Strongly built and handsome, Kamba people are zealous and good at singing and dancing. At the Gurdon festival every early July, they gather and picnic on spacious meadows, dancing and celebrating their harvests. Scenery, affection, and combination of both are the very artistic conception of Shangri-La that people long for seeing. Or it may not be, because this place has no inexhaustible valuables and treasures, nor relaxation and romance of a fairy land. Everything here is all but realistic, pure, simple, and honest. Anyone who has visited here will no longer be in the mode of searching the so-called real Shangri-La. For mountains, rivers, songs, and tender feelings of稻城and Yading have been imprinted in their memory and in their mind.